Connected to iPhone and Galaxy Tab A2016.
As little as $5 and learn as you go. We've selected a mix of investments for you to choose from. Investments are organized into themes to help you build a portfolio that reflects who you are. Starting is simple. Connect your bank account and choose your investments. Invest what you can afford. We let you buy as little as $5 because we offer fractional shares.
They're not organized and run the world. This is the way we've been made to feel. Much like a woman who feels that without her man, I am nothing. Without you, I'm nobody. Without you, life has no meaning. How can I go on without you? You know, that's that sick love that's projected into our people through this music and this record. Sick love. Very ill kind of love. Big, grown, and resting. You can't live without somebody. Take my heart, here it is. Don't treat me bad. Okay. You are a grown person. You're not a babe in arms, even though you like to say it, rock me, baby. You know, talk, little baby, talk to me. You know, I'm not against having a nice little time. I love making love. It's wonderful. But then, what I'm trying to get at here is that often people get into a very infantile state of mind when they fall in love. They give up control of themselves. They give up self-responsibility as such. They give up self-definition. They give up their feeling of importance to the other person. So therefore, I won't feel important unless you tell me I feel important. Make me feel important. Tell me you love me. Or else I won't feel right. And this is the way many of our people are. I'm going to make you love me. Yeah, you know, we let some of our leaders act like, I'm going to bug you and worry you until you love me. And many of us feel that we need these other people's love so that we can love ourselves. And therefore we have, and this is why you find many women catching the hell they do with a lot of men.
What up?
Because they feel even though that man is kicking their butts, and even though the man is abusing them, it's a choice between the lesser of two evils. It would be better than them being by themselves. That somehow they'd be in worse shape than if they were by themselves. So therefore they have to put up with this abuse.
Misplace everything.
And they feel that they are nothing without this man, then they have to stay with him to feel something even though he's mistreating them. You see? And there's a person who has no real feeling and no real self-esteem and self-acceptance. And many of our people are in the same situation. We feel we will not be complete until these people love us, until they accept us. And therefore we are willing to put up with their abuse because we feel we'd be worse off without them. If they left us, then all of this good jazz, this good old stereo music would be gone because we don't know how to make TVs, do we? All these cars would be gone. All this other stuff would be gone. Because the only thing we know about Africans is that they produce these things. They produce huts and this and that. So I don't want to live in no hut. I want to go back to no jungle. So the only thing, so we need these people. We know they treat us mean. We know they, they degrade us sometimes. But hey, it would be worse off if they were not, because niggas can't run nothing, I hate to be in a world where there's all black people. And therefore we put up and we take the abuse. And our only hope then becomes one of trying to convert these people. You see, it's like the woman says, he's nice when he ain't drunk. He's so sweet and loving when he ain't got that alcohol. So what does she sit around waiting for him to stop drinking? So and by the time he stopped drinking, he's beat up to death. You see? And this is the way we get it. By the time this white man learns to love you, you'll be dead. He'd be beat all out of you. Wouldn't be worth loving after that anyway. I'm telling you. Yeah. Oh, we can see. Yeah, she sees how nice he could be. And this is the thing we get caught on. We see how nice it could be if they would love us. Instead of facing the reality that they don't. And facing the possibility of what? That they never will. And dealing with it.
Tara and Puff.
Operating
What up,
on that
guys?
basis. Instead of living in
Y'all already know.
hope. Year in and year out. And this is the way we are caught up. We hope someday this drunken fool of a man, these sick people, are going to somehow get out of their sickness.
I'm telling you, bro. I can't get enough of it. I mean, I can.
You are weak and thinking you're going to.
I ain't even gonna lie. I can, like, when I first listened to Dr. Amos Wilson, I was just hardcore. I talk about for like 2 or 3 days listening to nothing but his lectures for 2 or 3 days. And then I was like, all right, I'm burnt out on this shit. This motherfucker talking some real ass shit. I ain't never hear nobody talk all this real shit. And so then I started buying his books. And after I read about 2 of his books, or 2.5 of them, I died down a little bit. And I go through phases where I don't know. And sometimes it's information overload. Like he says so much. And it really makes you contemplate and reconsider our position in American society, yo. And he makes you feel uneasy and uncomfortable, but that's what's needed for change. If you're always comfortable, you won't want to change anything. As soon as you start feeling uneasy or slightly agitated, then you're going to look for comfort if that means changing your situation. And but I always come back to Dr. Amos Wilson. I've been listening to him for almost 2 years now, and it's, I don't know, one of my favorite intellectuals to listen to for just the simple fact of the information he gives, the way he delivers his lectures, and just his voice alone. Like I just love his voice, yo. He has this really strong, powerful, commanding voice, yo. Yeah, and those are the first ones that I really got into. Awakening the Natural Genius of the Black Child, a psychotherapeutic healing for Black adolescents, violence in the Black adolescence male, and there was another one for Black kids, yo. Awakening the Natural Genius, and then his other one was, oh, I can't think of the name of the other lecture, but he goes in on keeping your kids smart. You know, our kids are born smart. They're born intellectually superior, and the only thing we have to do is maintain that level of brain function throughout adolescence. Whereas modern day society actively seeks to put you on them alpha waves, motherfucking drone your ass into a damn a zombie. I actually think I want to be a little brighter blue, and I'm gonna work on these clouds. I'm getting started late, so I'll probably only be in here for like 40 minutes or something like that. I got that last day of work tomorrow. I sure appreciate y'all coming to check on me. Sit and chill with your boy for a minute. Oh, as a matter of fact, there was I did want to share. Somebody was asking me for some painting tips. I just told him it'd probably be easier if you That's what's up.
This is the way we've been made to feel. Much like a woman who feels that without her man, I am nothing. Without you, I'm nobody, the way it is. And therefore, we cannot define mental health in terms of adjustment to the system as it is. A sane individual would have to be about destroying this system before it destroys him. This white man is taking us all to our deaths. He has us all sitting here wondering when the end is going to come. It is madness.
It is madness. I don't know what's wrong. That's what's up, bro. If you know, back and forth. Busy man. I know how you is, bro. Busy man. I don't know why. I think that this audio recording is just old and it has some breaks in the audio, but it's actually still playing. It's just, yeah, I mean, the counter is still going, but I don't know.
Into you in those first 2 and 3 years that we talked about earlier.
But yeah, like he just made the one comment. We're all sitting around waiting on when these people are just gonna destroy the world, and that was literally the case in the '60s with that Cold War. Not knowing if who was the Russian prime minister or whatever at that time during the Cold War? Not Khrushchev. Damn, I can't think of dude's name right now. But yeah, we just waiting around to see who gonna push the fucking nuke button first. You know what I'm saying? Who gonna get brave enough to fucking nuke each other off the goddamn planet, even though, you know, America had already proven that it was willing to use weapons of mass destruction. Alright. I don't know why. I don't know. I made that sky so dark like that yesterday. I feel like I need to paint every day. I do. But some days after work, I don't know what the fuck I be doing, yo. And a 12-hour work shift, and then I come home and I drink a beer and smoke a doobie and start painting. And then the next day I look at this shit like, what the fuck? What the fuck is that? For real, Trap. You know that shit was too dark. Why you paint the whole damn thing then? The fuck you mean you don't know? I mean, you were painting it. And you painted the whole thing. And now you want to say, I think the sky's a little too dark. I used too much Parisian blue. I should have used a little bit more cobalt. You gotta get your ass up here, man. Come holla at me. You remember I called you the other time and I thought my neighbors was fucking doing some shit with my shit, yo. I swear, yo, I'm still not sure, yo, honestly. But I really do feel like them motherfuckers was doing something, bro. And it's weird, yo, cause now my neighbor works at the same company with me. Like he just got a job there like a few months ago. Well, not even a few months, maybe like, and I still remember seeing his ass at work, yo. Like we don't work in the same around this dude, but like I just pass by him like certain times of the day. In the morning when everybody's clocking in, I see his ass sometimes out about to go to lunch or something. And it's like this dude. This dude is a nuisance. A nuisance. Yeah. That's all good, man. Cause motherfuckers don't know I know people. I know people who know stuff about shit. You know what I'm saying? Man, please. I know smart. I know very, very intelligent people. If I don't know something, trust me, I can call somebody in a minute who know the answer that I need on anything. Any kind of motherfucking IT software questions, any kind of real estate questions, any kind of legal questions, hair questions. I know everybody. Y'all got a question? Give me a question I can't answer. I'll call somebody. I got lifelines. My circle is tight. Son of a bitch. Rambo. Is your name John Rambo? Is this John Rambo? That man to eat things that'll make a goat puke. Or that'll make a goat vomit. So, I've been listening to this one lecture in my stream, right? Dr. Amos Wilson, is one lecture for 3 days. That's how long this lecture is, yo. No lie, this lecture is like 3+ hours. I stream for an hour a day and still won't get through the damn stream in 3 days. You know what I'm saying? That man be talking, man. Facts. Facts. You don't like him? Huh? Tough cookies. Tough motherfucking cookies. That's the way the cookie crumble. Dr. Amos Wilson ain't got nothing but facts for you. Even his opinion is a fact. Think about that. Huh? That's fact. Oh, that's what Dr. Amos Wilson thought? That must be a fact. His opinion is a fact. For real. Matter of fact, let's get back to these facts. Actually, factually.
Those 2 or 3 years that you don't remember, but those 2 or 3 years which shaped your basic personality and shaped what excites you and what turns you on. And therefore, since you can't remember those years, you also don't have any idea why you feel the way you do. All you do is just have this feeling. And you're responding to this feeling. You can't help yourself. And why you get that feeling that if they abandon you, you can't live without them. Like if your parents abandoned you at age 2 or 3, you feel like you couldn't live without them as well. Why you feel helpless in their hands. We find that. Therefore, a people who cannot love themselves are going to have difficulty loving someone else. And this is a part of the problem. I talked with some fine black women who developed some schools and those schools gained a reputation for being very academically advanced, and the students were very academically advanced. And they told me that quite often that after they would get these students up, these black students up, giving them an Afrocentric education, get them up where they were ahead of the average, even ahead of their so-called white counterparts, then often the parents would come in and take them out of the school and then take them over to a white school. And then when you'd ask them, well, why are you doing this? I mean, they're doing well and the whole bit, you know, and so forth. And they would acknowledge that, well, we got to teach them how to live with other people, how to get along with all other folk. You hear this constantly. And you want to tell them, but don't you think that the first thing they should learn is how to get along with their own people? How to get along with themselves first as a people? How to love themselves and relate to themselves as people? How to unite, how to organize, how to work together, how to do the necessary things for our liberation before you start focusing them on loving of the other people. The ability to love other people well comes through first the ability to love oneself. You cannot love other people well and hate your own self. For what you call love is a twisted, distorted, neurotic kind of love. And it's a love that destroys you as well as the other individual. Or it destroys your group. Because these will be the same ones who will go out and marry these white women and produce biological suicide. Because they don't want any children to look like they do. They want them to look different. And the more differently they look from themselves, the more they love them. So consequently, their love is a love that if it were permitted to continue, would destroy their own ethnic group and destroy themselves. And yet they were called it loving other people. The Japanese don't have to send their children all across America to outrun this country. They're making better cars, they're making better stereos, they're making better everything. I don't see a whole bunch of Japanese running out here all over the place trying to get educated by white folk. They seem to be able to educate their children fairly well to the degree that they can compete with these people, why is it we feel that we can't then do the same? Why is it we feel that we have to push them under someone else who does not want them? So consequently then, when we love, when you let another people create in you a personality of their own liking, as we talked about earlier, when you let another people condition your personality, what is it then that you love in the other person? If the personality in that other individual has been created by your enemy, and your own personality has also been created by your enemy, then what are you loving? You must understand that. So when you fall in love, you're falling in love with an implant, a falsification. And that kind of love cannot but destroy you and destroy your family and destroy your people. And therefore, when you base your love upon the images of another people, then you can only love those things in your own woman or in your own man. And you cannot afford to love them as they are. And you cannot accept them in terms of the reality that they represent. And therefore they must, in order to get along with you, live outside of themselves and live in a false relationship with you. And you must then live in a false relationship with them as well. And it's difficult to live a lie day in, day out.
What the hell? What's up,
And this
Art?
is what happens to our families and to our loves when we let another people shape the personalities and implant those personalities into ourselves. When you let the white woman represent your standard of beauty, your standard of femininity, when you let her features represent that which is lovable and desirable, when you let her represent the height of womanhood to you, when you let her love mean that you are a man, when you love your own woman, then you will always feel you love him second best. She'll never be quite the woman you want her to be. Or you will find yourself trying to create her, and therefore you become godlike in your relationship to her, trying to make her over in the image of the white woman, and hating her when she doesn't become so, and then destroying her for not being so. You're like that God of the Old Testament. If you don't do what I say, I'll flood you out. And if you don't, that's not enough, I'll put some fire to you the next time. You know? And it's just that she'd be just like man, be as sinful as ever. You know? This is what we have. When you then love out of this kind of situation we're talking about, you love out of deprivation. Well, my daddy wasn't at home, and so what you looking for now? Sugar daddy? Love me, daddy. You want to become a little girl again? Because you never had a chance to be a little girl? Your daddy never got a chance to hold you by your hands and protect you and make you feel secure? Keep all the bad guys away and the other people off of you? Tell you, don't worry, darling, I'll take care of everything? You missed that, didn't you? So now you're going to get it out of a man. And the man himself is a little boy, though. Because he's never been permitted to grow up either. He doesn't know what it means to be a man. He hasn't been trained to be a father. He's been raised by his mama. And the only thing he knows is that women are something to be depended upon, to be used. He might have seen his mama laying around with a few people. And for him, a lot of women are whores if you don't watch them. Oh yes, let's deal with the reality here, ladies and gentlemen. He might have been spoiled by his mama, so he didn't have to pick up after himself. She cooked and washed his dirty drawers, set up with the light on, waiting for him to get home all night. And he wants a girl just like old mama was, he says. And here you are needing a dad, and here he is needing a mama. And it's just not going to work out. He's caught up. He loves out of deprivation. And people who've been deprived and feel deprived, who cannot make for themselves their own world, and therefore they're brought up thinking that they've always been left out.
Yes, sir. Crimson clouds. There's a chance they might get a little bit lighter. Might. But it's very, very red over here. Yes. You can tell she is deep in thoughts.
And they've always been denied something. Will then often try to get what is left out or what they feel denied through somebody else. They become needy in their love. I need you. But babe, I don't love you. But darling, I need you. I don't care if you don't love me. I need you. If I need you, that's all that's necessary. You mean to tell me that I was born just to come in and be needed by you? That I have nothing to do with it? And you have some men and people who love that way, right? Yeah. If I need you, forget it. I don't care how you feel about it. You know? And they get so caught up in their own needs and so caught up in their own deprivations and get so caught up in trying to fulfill the emptiness in their lives and so caught up in trying to build up their degraded self-image. Make me feel like a woman. Make me feel like a man. Make me feel like a king. Make me feel like a queen. And I've seen some even Afrocentric marriages caught up in that. The man wants to be made to feel like an African king, and the woman wants to be made to feel like an African queen, and they are playing some role that does not deal with the realities in which they are facing and the realities that surround them, but they're trying to play a game with each other, trying to make up for what they feel are lacks, and often the other individual cannot provide what the individual really likes. No one can ever really take the place of your mother. No one can ever really take the place of your father. And it becomes unfair to demand that they do. But some people, they are so needy until the only thing they can think about is their needs. They spend their days and their nights concerning their needs. They become centered and focused on their needs to such an extent where they can no longer pay attention to the other person. They become insensitive to the other individual. They become unresponsive to the other person. They do not even see the other person. They can only perceive them in relationship to their own needs at the moment and in no other way. And often then when they fall in love, they fall in love in terms of their needs and not what the person really is. And then they dare the person to be other than what they need. And when the person breaks through, the reality breaks through, they feel betrayed and hurt. And they want to fight and destroy. And this is the problem then that we must work with. Because the essential thing that we must do as a people is learn to love one another deeply and sincerely. And that's not easy. Because when we look at each other, we see ourselves. And if we've been taught to hate ourselves, then we will hate each other. Because we are mirror images of ourselves as people. Why is it so difficult? We have people who fear love. Love is a hurting thing, we say, right? Love don't love nobody. You know, and this love will beat you down. So some of us, I don't want to get into this thing because I won't be able to handle it. If this person leaves me, if it doesn't work out the way I want it to work, it drives me crazy. I go out of my mind. And so we fear love often. Or we fear that if the person loves us, they're going to take control of us. Many men have a problem with that. Fearing love. Don't let her know you love her, man, because she's going to abuse you. Take advantage of you. So you find they move one step forward and, uh-oh, man, I'm liking this too much. Step back. And so the woman, you wonder what the heck is going on. One moment you love it, next moment you don't. Often, of course, the man is wrestling with this concept of whether he will become dependent and lose control of himself. And it's really something when you're one of the types that believe in a woman as being weaker and inferior. And it really gets to your goat when you're in love with somebody that's weaker and inferior to you. And this is the problem many men have, well, I'm superior, I'm great, I'm supposed to be in control, and this little, she's got me, got my mind messed up. And he loves her and he hates her at the same time. He loves the feeling and the this and the that, but he also hates the fact that she has that power over him. And consequently, he sends out messages that neutralize each other and fight each other and create conflict with each other. And he destroys his relationship, often bleeding at the same time.
Hello? No, but there should be some leftover in there, right? I'll put some leftovers together. Okay.
About how he loves the person. And the love in itself then becomes an instrument of destruction. And often this comes out of being a part of a society where you have and you are victimized by people who don't know what love is. You cannot love God and hate your neighbor. Isn't that what they told you? You cannot love and be religious and be evil. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a people truly capable of love, are not people then who are going to be destructive and exploitative and racist and degrading of other people and making weapons of destruction and death and polluting the world and doing the kind of thing. People who destroy the earth and enslave other people and degrade other people and hate other people and rob other people and kill and steal from other people are people who do not have love in them, ladies and gentlemen. And when you have been reared and conditioned by these people, they will condition the love out of you as well. You must understand that. Now then, why do we fear love? Often we're afraid to love as people because angry at what other people do to the people we love. We can stand the mistreatment that is occurring to our people. We would work hard to overthrow those people. It's just like someone who's attacking your child that you love. You can't stand by and see it happen. You remove them and destroy them before you see them destroy someone you love. If you love your own people, and if African people love themselves deeply, they could not stand around and see themselves be exploited by another people and abused by another people. You cannot stand the idea that your children will be raised to be exploited and destroyed by another people. It is impossible for you to think. But then, if you've also been trained to think that the white man is all-powerful, that he is invincible, that you need his love to feel right, yes, sir, that you cannot live without his love, then you are going to fear hating him deeply. Which means that often what will happen, in order for you not to feel the hatred for the white man for what he's doing to you, and of course the hatred that will make you destroy him for what he is doing to your loved ones, the dilemma is often solved by reducing your love for yourself and reducing your love for your own as a way of handling your own emotions. And therefore you become afraid to love your own too deeply, because that deep love then has with it the possibility that you will suffer from annihilation when you confront the people that are destroying the people that you love. So consequently, many of us then have backed off the deep kind of love because of fear of that love and what will happen to us if we truly love deeply. And also because if we have a love for the other people, if we feel the loss of their love, and if the only way we can rid the world of the destruction that is happening to us is that we rid the world of them, then we have a stake in their staying alive and of saving them. And consequently then we get caught in a dilemma. We can't afford to love our own people too deeply, and we can't afford to hate the other people too much. As a matter of fact,
Yeah, after work, oh man, it's already 45 minutes. What time is it? It's 8:41. I'm gonna go to 9 o'clock. But yeah, after work, I really try to limit myself to about an hour of painting. Being out the house for 12 hours, I do need like some family time. So, yesterday I just worked on this half of the clouds, and I'm trying to get this half kind of filled in before it gets too late. It's almost there. I don't know how this is gonna work out, guys. If both sides will be comparable to each other, where it looks like it actually flows, because like I said, I did one side and stopped and do the other side instead of just kind of going all together with while I was in that zone. It's like, oh shit, now I gotta make sure these clouds look like those clouds and those clouds look like these clouds, so that it's believable, because I am just freestyling this shit and there is literally no clouds there. So we shall see how this comes out, It's gonna be a little bit questionable, a little on the iffy side, but hey, for the people who don't know, for the people who never seen a photograph, they gonna be like, wow, that shit is amazing. I'm gonna be like, yeah, thanks, I know. I mean, I appreciate the compliment. Didn't mean to be so arrogant. In your face. Burn. Those clouds, those crimson clouds, it just reminds me of this one summer evening when I was in Ireland. I met this girl there. Her name was Rebecca. And we sat and we drank all night until the morning, during dawn, and there was these crimson clouds in the sky. It looks almost exactly like that. Wow, it's uncanny. And I'd be like, yeah, that's what I was going for. That's... Come on, Brush. Wake up, Brush. That motherfucker was stiff just now. Wake your ass up, bitch. There you go. Go to work, baby. Go to work. That's right. You blend them clouds. Make them clouds look fluffy. Oh, shit. Hey, watch out now. These clouds gonna look fluffy as hell. Like you can just take a puff off of them. What y'all know about them fluffy clouds? Ooh, fluffy clouds. What y'all know about them fluffy clouds? I was watching you paint clouds the other day. How long is it going to take you to paint them clouds? Until they look believable. You know? That's how long. Oh, back to the lecture. My bad, guys.
Cover up our hatred with a love for them that we don't have to show for our own. And we conceal and repress what should be our natural rage against these people by pretending to love them. We go into what we call a reaction formation, where you behave in the very opposite way of how you really feel, because you're afraid that if you reveal your true feelings, then something terrible may happen to you. So when you get a people in that dilemma, their abilities to love and form affectionate relationships one to the other becomes problematic. And it creates a problem and maintains the kind of situation that you see us in today. Okay then. The last one that's mentioned here is productivity. Well-adjusted people are able to channel their abilities into productive activity. They are enthusiastic about life and do not need to drive themselves to meet the demands of the day. A chronic lack of energy and excessive susceptibility to fatigue are often symptoms of psychological tension resulting from unresolved problems. I just find it so interesting how these people can write this material here on a certain level and yet set it up in such a way that it doesn't work for anybody. You know, and that's the interesting thing about it. That our people will read this, memorize it, pass exams on it, and miss the whole point of it. Because we've been set up to do that. You see,
I heard this shit don't work.
I've been pushed out of my own institution. Why? In part because I tried to move these concepts into a higher plane. This is the reason why I told my students, if you learn this material in the Afrocentric way, you will not only know what the white boy knows, you will know more than the white boy knows. A true Black Studies course will make your mind broader and deeper than the standard. The white man cannot offer you the deepest and the best education. You can only offer yourself the deepest and the best education. And when I talk about this then, productivity, well-adjusted people. Now, often then the student is left with this as an individual concept. But then let us look at our people. Where is the productivity? What we see is a people who are consumerist in nature. All over the world, our countries, buying, begging, borrowing, consuming, trying to buy prestige, trying to be loved by buying, trying to distinguish themselves by buying, by consuming, not production. You will not be able to consume yourselves into equality, ladies and gentlemen. Japan does not consume. One of the problems we're having with Japan today is what? They won't buy anything from America. But what are they doing? They're selling everything to Americans. And what are the Americans complaining about? We're losing jobs. We're losing factories. We can't afford to continue this. If we continue to buy from the Japanese and the Chinese and the Koreans and the other people of the world, after a while then we will not be able to supply our people with jobs and with the necessary things for living. And this is the problem that's going on. We're into it now. Harley Davidson, the motorcycle manufacturer, is only existing today because the United States has decided to protect those workers against Japanese competition. And you'll find that in many other industries. Jobs are being literally shipped out of this country to other nations. To the point now where you hear in Congress, and the president just vetoed a bill last week, where the congressmen now are literally just want to tell the other nation to keep their products out of this country. Where we imposed on Japan a so-called voluntary restraint on the number of cars that could work in this nation. Now, what does it mean to you as a consumer? It means on a certain level, you are really giving welfare to the workers of this country. Because you see, if a Japanese motorcycle can come over here and be sold for $400 or $500 less than an American-made motorcycle, if you let those motorcycles get into the country, it would run the American motorcycle companies out of business. So what the government does is to charge the Japanese an import fee of $400 so that the prices could be equal. Which means that you as a consumer then, when you buy that Japanese motorcycle, in a sense you are giving those workers at the American company $400 to keep a job. You see, welfare can go in many devious ways, ladies and gentlemen. Many peculiar kind of ways. And what I'm trying to say then, and what this country is recognizing, is that you don't make it in the world and you don't maintain power in the world through consumption. You maintain power in the world through production. And when we must recognize, when we look over our African nations and our Caribbean nations, and we look at ourselves within this very country itself, what we see is a bunch of consumers who think that they can consume themselves into power and can consume themselves into equality with the European. It's not going to happen. As I've often said, the man that drives the Cadillac is not equal to the man who can make it and drive it. And the fact that you think you can drive these cars and your African nations are not making them, driving is not equality. And you must face that fact. But people who are concerned more with being accepted by their masters, who are concerned with identifying with their masters, who feel that they can't love themselves until they are loved by their masters, who are wrestling with their fears of love and hatred, who are wrestling with their inefficient perceptions of reality, people who do not know themselves, People who are overrun with impulsive and compulsive behavior because they do not have control over their behavior are people who are not going to be productive. They are going to be so caught up wrestling with their conflicts, wrestling with the contradictions in their personality until they are going to be tired most of the time. They're not going to have enough energy. They're going to be people who are lazy because they're filled with anger and resentment. And people then who just don't have the stamina and the energy to do what's necessary to be done. And there are people who look around then for grants and dependency handouts and other kinds of things. So therefore then we can see with these things in mind why the condition exists among our people that exists today. And I'll wrap it up here. If then we are to achieve a psychology of liberation, I think our analysis today makes it obvious what we must do. First of all, of course, it indicates then that we must deal with reality. And we must have our own means of determining what reality is. And we must confront that reality no matter how painful it may be to us as people. We cannot be liberated unless we are liberated from a false reality. We must know ourselves and how we have been created, how we are maintained psychologically in the condition that we are in. And we must then develop the techniques necessary to break this control. We must strive then for control over our behavior, which means that we must have control over our turf and over our territory and over the conditions under which we live. You can talk about this citizenship nonsense all day and all night. You can talk about how these Koreans have a right to be in your community. But while you're talking about that, you should talk about how you have a right to own your own community too as a people. You can talk about in Africa how these Indians over there are so-called citizens too, and how these Muslims and Arabs are citizens too. But you must also talk about how the African must have control of their own nations. And you must not bury your control behind some namby-pamby bullshit about citizenship. Because ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, you must have control of the conditions under which you live as a people. And you're going to let these Jesse Jackson leaders and these other kind of leaders talk to you about this nonsense of loving and this other stuff, and you're going to find yourself never being in control of yourself as a people and under the control of other people. One of the best ways to get them to love you is to put them in a position where they don't have any control over you. And then, as a matter of fact, and the other thing is, ultimately, is what? You don't give a damn whether they love you or not. And it's only when you escape giving a damn about these people loving you and accepting you that you escape their control over you as a people. Self-esteem and acceptance certainly means then that we have to reconstruct our image as a people and our own ways of measuring ourselves. Certainly it means then that we have to teach ourselves to love each other, as a great deal of love is taught and a great deal of loving is taught. It means then that we can begin to teach ourselves how to love and teach ourselves loving. Isn't it amazing, though, that ultimately, as I tell my class often, you're going to learn this mathematics and you're going to learn all of this other stuff, and you're going to find out that the real important thing in your life is having a good man or woman to come home to, and a good set of children, and a good family, and a good community to live in, and good friends and people who surround you. And you're going to find that without these things, despite your money, despite your job and your prestige, life is just not going to work out for you. I said, but isn't it sort of strange that even though love is going to be the foundation of the salvation of man, you go through a whole college career and you're taught nothing about it. You're not taught how to love, how to make love, how to express love and feelings. That's not seen as the center of your curriculum. The only thing that's seen as the center of your curriculum is slave labor. Teaching you how to slave and punch keys and do things for other people. And can't you begin to see then how fundamentally different an Afrocentric education is? Because in the center of that education is loving and knowing how to love and how to relate to other people. And everything else is of secondary importance. Let's understand that. You see, Freud saw the basis of civilization as being the sublimation and the repression of sex. Yeah. In other words, if you let people screw as much as they want to, they won't come to work on Monday. You know, you have some people, they feel if they really make love real deep, that's all they'll think about. If I let myself go, I'll become a hoe, and that's all I'll do. It's not true. It's not true. If you truly let yourself go and truly and deeply enjoy lovemaking, you'll have time to do other things. You'll have the energy and the sense of security and the sense of well-being to do other things. If you can't get no satisfaction, your mind is caught up continuously and diverted. And your life then becomes twisted and perverted, you see. And so it is the true satisfaction of love and loving that creates a real civilization. And a civilization then that sees sex as its enemy, that sees loving as its enemy, has to be anti-life, ladies and gentlemen, because life flows out of sexuality and flows out of loving. And any educational system then where love and loving and sexuality and hugging and kissing and being with other people in the sense of love, where that is seen as a sideline and is not a part of the essential development of a child, is an educational system that prepares people to create death and to bring about death and destruction. And this is the civilization that we see today. Because, ladies and gentlemen, when you truly love and when you love deeply, you'll find out that many of the things you think are important in life are not important at all. Not important at all. That the ability to have really wonderful people with whom you can be honest, with whom you can really share, people who are not afraid to be intimate and express themselves, people who know themselves and can feel themselves, you will find that you need far less of these substitutes for love that we have today. These objects and these houses and all of these other kinds of things that people create for themselves in the place of real love and in the place of their fears, to represent their fears. So consequently then, and you see that in the older African system, loving and how to love is taught. They didn't need to develop this monstrosity of a culture in order to feel whole as a people. You call it primitive. I call it the people who learn that good feelings and happiness can be gained on another plane other than with objects and toys and the other kinds of things we substitute for real human emotions. And consequently then, we will teach love, and consequently we will begin to be productive, and we will produce a new kind of world and a new world order. We are going to produce a world that is one that has nothing to do with the European. let me say this, you see, about the person, let me put it this way. You know, when a person curses you out, you can respond to it in several ways. Now, some people respond to it by saying, take those words back. I'm not going to let you rest until you take those words back. Now, what has happened under that in that situation?
Yo, thanks for chilling with me this evening. Damn, this light's getting bright as hell. But like I said, I got one more day of work tomorrow. I did want to get a good hour of painting in, or 40 minutes, because I did talk for a little bit. But the sky is coming together nicely. I'm going to throw some more highlights in there after this layer of paint dries. It may even lighten up the sky a little bit more. And then I'm going to start working on her shirt in that book the next time around. But yo, thanks for stopping by, yo, and keeping up with the projects. Peace. Till next time.